Yep, we're good.
Right now we're good.
Right now we're good. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started. Here we go. Let's go. I have to start this lecture by saying yet again the Patriots won. How do we feel about that?
History.
Okay. Last week, we started our poetry, the elements of poetry. We were talking last week about what devices, what kinds of devices were we talking about? Yeah. Yes. So those are examples of these devices, but what are those devices called? Anybody know? Yeah, we worked on alliteration with assonance and consonants, but what are all those called? Yes. Sound devices. They deal with sounds, right? Okay. This week, and we reviewed that stuff yesterday, right? This week, we're going to look at two more poetic devices. No longer the sound devices, but two more devices, and that is the rhyme and the meter. Okay? So the first thing to do this, the first thing that we have to do, okay, is understand what is rhyme. Now, I know that you guys have been, you understand rhyme and have seen rhyme and heard rhyme probably since first grade, okay? But that being said, I want you to get a definition as to what this guy gives us. So, based on this, in your own rhyme, in your own words, what does this say? And you can click on it in your IQ. It's right there. If you can't read the one up here, read that for a second. All right, give me some of your own words. Give me some of your own words. Give me your own words to this definition. Just speak.
Repetition of similar sounding words.
Okay, repetition of similar sounding words.
At the end of a poem line.
Yeah, and I don't like that because there are different kinds of rhyme, but usually it's at the end, but certainly not always is it at the end. Okay, go on.
It brings like kind of like a musical sound.
That's the bigger part of this. Thank you. This next sentence, a rhyme is a tool utilizing repeating patterns that bring rhythm and music to it. It's kind of funny because the sound devices do all the same thing. So when we're talking poetry, there is a lot of that rhythm and there is a lot of that musical aspect to it. It's supposed to be that way. Last week when we worked on alliteration, the sweet sounds of summer help us, okay? They help us with the rhythm and the musical feel. It's the same thing with rhyme. All right, let's go back. Let's talk rhyme scheme, okay? Rhyme scheme and how we do that, okay? What we do with rhyme scheme, okay, is at the end, if we're talking end rhyme, okay, what we do is we look at the very last word of the first line, and in this case, what's the word? Oh my gosh, can we not play the game today?
Whoa.
Thank you, that's an easy game, right? I ask a question, you guys give me feedback, okay, it's a piece of cake. So let's try this again. At the end of line one, what's the word at the end of the line?
Whoa.
Oh, that's nice, that's like toasty warm inside now. Okay, we always give that guy, okay, we always give that guy the letter A, like it is done here. Got me? Whoa. And then we go down to the second line. This is line 2. It says, yes, sir, 3 bags full. In the second line, does full rhyme with wool?
Yes.
So what letter do we give it? A, because it rhymes with the first line. So we establish that by saying, so far, lines 1 and 2 are A. Got me? Let's go to line 3. 1 for the master, 1 for the dame. Now, what is the last word and the end of line 3? See how easy that game is? Does dame rhyme with full or wool? Oh, that's easy. No, you're right. So we give it the next letter in the alphabet to represent that it does not rhyme, B. And this one here, and one for the little boy who lives down the lane. What's the last word of the fourth line? Does that rhyme with either full and wool or dame? It does. It's an N rhyme. We'll talk a little bit, even though it's an N and an M. That is close enough, certainly, for a rhyme. And we'll talk slant rhyme here in a moment. Okay, so for a moment, do you have a question?
Is it possible to have like A, B, A, B?
Hey now, let's go to this next part. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to take about 3 minutes. This should not take long at all. I want you to create 4 lines with an A, B rhyme scheme. Not A, B, B, but A, B, B. Cool? Let's meet back in about 3 minutes. What did you come up with that went A, B? Now's the time.
All right. So A, I have a friend named Hannah. And the second line's, but today Ricky's looking kind of lame. And we go back to A. He sure loves bananas. And the last line, but I am not to blame.
Hannah, lame, bananas, blame. Yay? Thumbs up. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. Hannah and banana, lame and blame, with every other line. So, to your question, yes, you can do that. Okay. And in fact, we will get in as we learn more, and I hope into your sophomore year, but certainly when we see you again when you're seniors in AP English. Certain rhyme schemes not only set off stanzas and separate stanzas without even breaking stanzas, but certain rhyme forms, rhyme schemes rather, will identify which kind of sonnet it is or what kind of poem it is just simply by the rhyme scheme. Example, if I looked at a sonnet 14 lines that went A, B, B, A, C, D, E, or some form of that, that would be considered a Petrarchan sonnet. And so, which is one of the very first sonnets ever written by the Italian Francisco Petrarca. Versus a different rhyme scheme that goes A, B, A, B. No, excuse me. Let me start again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's a Shakespearean sonnet. And that rhyme scheme is done then in quatrains with a couplet at the end, and it identifies a different type of sonnet automatically just by the rhyme scheme. So it's important that right now, at the elementary level that we're learning right now, with rhyme scheme, it's important that you understand how at least to number and letter rhyme scheme. That's all we're really learning here today. Let's look at number 2 now. Let's look at imperfect rhyme or slant rhyme or near rhyme or oblique rhyme. A lot of names, same smell, different nostril. Y'all with me? It's all the same, really. I always call it slant rhyme, near rhyme, oblique rhyme I've never really identified it with. But it's really comes down to what we learned in consonants. You remember last week when we did consonants, where in the middle or the end, certainly at the end, you have the same consonant sound. You recall, you guys, if we go back just a little bit, like whack and tick. That doesn't necessarily rhyme, but it certainly has that same sound, and so we call that slant rhyme. At least I call it slant rhyme. Some people call it near rhyme or oblique rhyme. So it can be defined as a rhyme in which stressed syllables ending in consonants match. However, the preceding vowel sounds does not match. Isn't that consonant in the definition? Isn't that whack and tick? Yes or no? Let's play the game now. Let's come back. Bex, you with me this morning? Good morning. Okay, here we go. Is that not consonants? Isn't that the definition of consonants? Right here? Absolutely. The example it gives is shape and keep. So we call that slant rhyme. So even though it's not rhyming, what you guys have always learned from rhyming since you were in kindergarten, as rhyming, because it doesn't have the same vowel sound with the same consonant sound, it still rhymes. Okay? And also think about this over the passages of time and the fact that a lot of our literature comes from different places. A lot of our literature, especially the stuff that we study today, comes from Britain, right? British literature, yes? And do they not pronounce words differently than we do? Yes, and so of course, obviously, we're gonna have some of those rhymes that are close, but not exact. Okay, so it's kind of lost in translation. Right? Okay, now, look at internal rhyme. Here's an example of internal rhyme. Oh, excuse me. Are we okay on slant rhyme at the end? Okay. There's also internal rhyme. Internal rhyme doesn't happen line and line and line and line and line, but it happens within the lines. The example I give you. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping. What two words are rhyming? Napping and tapping. Some people are playing along. Thank you.
Oh, I
Thank
didn't
you.
get that.
Thank you. All right. So there are three types of internal rhymes. Really, the internal rhymes that we look at mostly are the rhymes within the lines, but also two or more rhyming words will appear in the middle of two separate lines, or sometimes in more. So you'll see it not at the end, but you'll see it on line 1 in the middle, and line 2 in the middle, and line 3 in the middle. Everybody get that internal rhyme? That's called internal rhyme as well. And the third example, a word at the end of a line rhymes with one or more in the middle of the following line. So it can be like at the very end, napping, and then in the next line, tapping and slapping. I like that. Everybody get that? You see? So it doesn't always have to just be an internal rhyme on the one line. It can go down to the next line, etc. Okay? Questions on that? Okay. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. There are some examples that you're more than welcome to look at. All right. We're going to create our own 4-stanza rhyming poem that is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F. But wait, the last quatrain's different. G, G, H, H. Now, we're not going to do that right this second. We're not going to do that right this second. We're going to do a little bit more practice. But that's where we're headed. Here's my question. It's every other rhyme, it's every other line that it rhymes. And we're talking end rhyme, yes? Okay? But as we're looking at this as well, can C rhyme with A or B? No. So if you have Hannah and blame and banana and lame, the next line has to be, it cannot be same. Because that is rhyming with B or A. Everybody understand that part of it? So there's a total of 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, 6, 7, 8 different rhymes going on in this particular poem. Okay, everyone? Okay? All right. So you're going to start that here in the next little while. Any questions about rhyme, internal, slant, or end rhyme? Any questions? Let's get to work.